Right, we're joined now by the Commissioner for Public Complaints Commission in the FCT that had to Ezekiel Musa. Also with us is Honorable Aliyu Gebi, who is the National Coordinator of the Security Governance Initiative. He's also a former member of the House of Representatives. Thank you so much for joining us on News Night tonight. Let me start with you, Mr. Aliyu Gebi. How shocking is it? Or let me just get your response simply. When you hear that the FCT Minister has not been adequately briefed on the security situation here in Abuja. As a matter of fact, our guest here in the studio, the Commissioner, is being quoted. I mean, we saw him in that, video now, making that statement. How does that come to you?
For me, whether or not the Minister of the FCT has been briefed or not is immaterial. The fact of the matter remains that this is an unfortunate event, an event that should not have happened in the beginning. Perhaps if the Minister of the FCT had been available, had spent the amount of time that he should have spent on site, on his seat, attending to matters of security and other things that he should be attending to, perhaps he would have been adequately briefed, assuming he has not been. But the fact of the matter remains, we have a situation in our hands, and it's a situation that is deteriorating, and it is a situation that must be brought to book as soon as possible.
A situation that must be brought to book as soon as possible. Okay, let me bring it back to you, Commissioner. You made that statement that the FCT Minister has not been briefed. Exactly why? Do you want to help us understand why the Minister has not been briefed?
Well, thank you for this opportunity, and let me make it clear that I said he seems not to have been properly briefed. He seems not to have been proper. I need to correct that. And what that means is because I know the capacity of the FCT Minister, Barrister Wike, his antecedents, and what he's capable of doing. Seeing the speed of the insecurity getting to the level that is not palatable to Nigerians and residents, especially in the rural communities, is such that we need, as an ombudsman, to draw his attention to some of these issues. That's why we even list out some places and the challenges, the dark spots, and what is really going on, with a view so that he will really see the magnitude and the gravity of what's happening. We have said it very clear in that press briefing that I will never join the fray of any Nigerians to condemn the activities or the effort of the security personnel. They are really doing their best. In fact, I have been part of some of the activities where we share intelligence reports, we report to them. The Director DSS, the Commissioner of Police, have had time to even come with me to certain places that we're having some of these security challenges. I had time to also visit on the spot to appreciate what's happening on the ground. But really,
let me comment here. Sorry to cut you, because let me comment here, because we're in dire straits, and we need to call a spade a spade. We shouldn't paper over crack or make this look political, whether the minister is briefed or not. Aliyu Gebi, help us make sense of what exactly we're dealing with. We are in dire straits. People are grieving. People are confused, and this is the nation's capital.
To put things in context, Suleiman, this is not something that is new. It has been happening in the states, in the local governments, in communities. It has been happening for quite a while. It is only coming to bear now because the elites are perhaps seeing it happening in their back door for the first time. That's number one. Number two, the number of successes recorded by our combined security personnel in terms of recovery, in terms of thwarting the operations of the bandits, etc., goes unnoticed. Nobody knows all the successes, but everyone gets to know about the failure. That's second. Number three, we seem to abdicate the responsibilities of the political office holders and place it upon the shoulders of the security operatives. There is a gap there. There are things that need to be done and tackled at the political level. If you look at, for example, the last time the NSA addressed the country, he said, and I quote, they have recovered over 500 captives by kidnappers quietly, not celebrated. So we need to understand what needs to be done and at what level. If you look at, for example, the current Minister of Defense, who was the governor of Zamfara before he became a minister, what did he do? What did he put in place at that state level to ensure that this thing did not escalate to the point where it has? Then talking about Nyesom Wike, someone whose antecedents I have no idea about, and nor do I care. As a matter of fact, it is now that I care about what he does because he's the minister of the FCT. When he went around demolishing populous spaces, motor parks, etc., without thinking of what it would mean to the security of the FCT when you dislodge these people who otherwise had some means of livelihood, whether legally or illegally so, instead of making sanity out of it, where would they go to as aggrieved members of our society? Then number 4, when you look at the attack patterns, where it is estates that they attack, what is the security correlation between estates and the response mechanisms of the FCT? These are things that must be discussed and addressed. Then lastly, if you look at the terrain of Abuja, it goes without saying, if we don't maintain some semblance of security presence and take dominance of the high spaces, we live in a valley. No matter what we do, as long as the criminals will have access to the high ground, we will still be vulnerable. But be that as it may, I hear people talking about intelligence failure, etc., and etc. That's absolutely untrue. Or someone to come out and say we don't have the competence or capacity or capability to track. We do. The problem, Suleiman, is collateral damage. When you go in trying to rescue, and in that rescue you lose some or all of those that you are supposed to rescue, what do you think will happen? What will the backlash be? What will the international community, who always seem to have it in for Nigeria, what will they say? The quote the next day would be Nigerian military move in, scorched earth policy, and killed everyone in the bush. Perhaps the Nigerian military should be sent to the ICC. So it's a very, very delicate balance. If you go back to the Chibok debacle we faced, the Nigerian government and allies had the capacity to rescue them, perhaps, but when the collateral damage assessment was done, it was seen to be too risky to go in. You might lose some, you might lose all, you might recover all. It was deemed too risky based on the assessment, and then we had to scale back. So these are some of the things that we have to discuss. Then when you look at Nigerians resorting to crowdfunding, I don't mind crowdfunding. But the problem is, Malam Suleiman, I don't want to be rescued. I don't want to be rescued because I shouldn't be kidnapped right from the beginning. But we have recorded successes. Even in Abuja, there are some discussions that are not for the open spaces. But in the last 1 week, one of the major bandit kidnap cell leaders in Abuja was deleted by a combined force led by the NSA's office. This is something that is not in the public space. And this could actually be in reaction to that deletion of their leader. A lot is being done. But we cannot assume that the security forces can do it alone. This is a whole of government and all of society approach that must be taken. So Yahaya Bello of Kogi State has a hybrid approach that seems to be working. So perhaps the FCT Minister and the other governors of other states should look into borrowing from the model of Yahaya Bello. But it's either we are collectively secure or we are individually insecure.
Mr. Gebi, you've said so much. It's amazing. I mean, it's tough to even unpack that and see how our guest here, the commissioner in the studio, can, address some of the points you've raised. Issue of intelligence. Mr. Commissioner, Mr. Gebi says, look, it's not that intelligence is lacking. I know you said earlier that you're trying in your capacity, to provide some level of intelligence. There are flashpoints. The areas where these people operate is very well known. What exactly are you helping the police and security agencies with in a way that they can run with it and, apprehend these criminals?
Just like I said, the approach right now that we have need to be rigid. We need to re-strategize.
Right.
Like you hear in
when
what I
say
said,
we now, who needs to?
The entire society. It's not just left for the security alone. I made mention of these locals, the local vigilantes, the hunters, who will definitely and have been complementing the effort of the security forces. They need to be sort of encouraged, empowered, monitored by security agencies, trained to complement the effort of the security agencies because they live with these people in the rural communities. What we see these kidnappers do is to actually go into places that are unmanned by security. Right. They seem to look at where is more vulnerable. And before, there are areas...
So you're saying the criminals themselves have intel?
They should, because you will see them attacking soft spots. You will see them attacking communities that are vulnerable. And before you call any security, they have done what they want to do and have left. But when you have these people on the ground in this rural community, well man, well-trained, empowered through what they call civilian JTF that we see working just like he is. We are suggesting that this should be looked up to. The stakeholders in the communities all around should also be given the responsibility of seeing that security is not just the business of government alone. It's not just the business of Commissioner of Police of the DSS alone, but it's a business of all of us to put our hands together, because when it happens, we come out crying. They come out calling. They keep calling to the office, crying, talking, and saying all sorts of. So we need to put all hands on deck and let them see that security is everybody's business. When we have this kind of approach and this sensitization to the general populace, especially here in the rural community, I'm sure we're going to have a semblance complementing what the security agency are already doing.
Let me bring in Aliyu Gebi here, and listening to the commissioner here, and also going back to what you raised. You know, we live a communal life, and you said something about crowdfunding, and quite a number of Nigerians have taken to, you know, raising funds for ransom. How dire is the situation that we have truly found ourselves at the moment?
No, it's a very terrible situation. It is a very, very terrible situation indeed. First, we need to understand the modus operandi of the kidnappers. They are not unintelligent, nor do they not have enablers within our own systems in the cities and the urban communities. There are three layers of people that they kidnap. One, you have the rural people that they kidnap who are seen as cannon fodder, as a matter of fact. These are used as human shields because they know the operational protocols of government will not allow government to go in as long as there are high collateral damages estimates to try to storm their hideouts and bring out people. That's the first layer, the dispensable cannon fodder layer. Then there's a second layer, which is the students, which they take because they know once they take students, emotions will run high, government will be brought to its knees, government will be forced to negotiate, and they get what they want. Then the third layer, which is the one I want to dwell on, which is what happened in Buhari, is those who are able to find a way to pay ransom. Now, this is the most dangerous layer. Layered with that layer is, of course, the super rich, who may have turned to perhaps warehousing cash, 500 million, X amount of money. Whenever it happens, there is some money designated somewhere. You just pick up a phone, call somebody, and X money will be moved and the person will be released, which also feeds into the wider problem. Now, for the middle layer, those are, for example, the ones that were taken, the unfortunate case in Buhari. Unfortunately, when such things happen, as a parent, I have 6 daughters. I put myself in that situation. You become emotional. You just want to get your daughters out. And it is for that same emotional blackmail that they allowed the father to go, knowing fully well the father's mind will be with his daughters. He would do whatever needed to have been done for him to raise the money. And that's exactly what they did. So when you now crowdfund, for example, it's a very, very good thing. It's a very noble thing to do. But we need to crowdfund also with some semblance of responsibility. We can crowdfund from behind the scenes. These people are also on the social media. As you are crowdfunding, they are also upping the ante. For example, we know of one case where allegedly someone, through the goodwill and charity of others, was able to raise a sizable amount of money to balance out what was required. And this was sadly put out in the social media. This amount could have been communicated through the appropriate government channels, the NSA, the DSS, etc. But unfortunately, it came to the public platform. And unfortunately, what happened was predictable. They now increased the expectations of the ransom. And we have now set a precedent that if you squeeze the right place, if this person has friends or access to people in government, perhaps this amount of money can be generated and then the ransom is paid. So you have put that middle layer in even more precarious danger. Now, what needs to be done is a pronouncement of policy by the Commander-in-Chief, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Between us and these people, whoever they are, it is all-out peace or all-out war. Nigeria is in a state of war. These guys brought war to our doorsteps. No matter what their collateral damages will be, we should wipe out these people from the face of the earth. This is the language that they understand. So to begin to pussyfoot, trying to think you can negotiate, if we can individually negotiate our way out, what about collectively? And again, if we're not collectively secure, this individual insecurity will only continue. This enemy is brash, rash, he is inhuman, And in fact, this enemy is subhuman. So the only thing between us and this enemy is war. We should wipe this enemy out, or at least break this enemy down to his knee. Let this enemy be the one to want peace with us. Having said that, in terms of coordination, we're not doing too badly. We're not doing too badly. Intelligence flow is coming in. Right. Coordination in terms of response is coming in. But what is missing? It is the society to plug into the efforts of the security forces and be sure that what is to be done is done in a timely manner and is done as appropriately as possible. This was a threat in the villages. Now it has moved into the city.
Yes,
and the elite, whatever the elite see as a threat, the elite have the wherewithal to resolve that problem.
Thank you so much, Aliyu. Gebi, you seem to be re-echoing what Amnesty just put out there, that an epidemic of kidnapping, you know, is in Nigeria, and government needs to declare a state of emergency in that regard. Thank you so much, Aliyu Gebi, National Coordinator, Security Governance Initiative, and Dalhatu Ezekiel Musa is Commissioner right here, Public Complaints Commission in Abuja. Thank you, both of you, gentlemen.